And good evening, and welcome to Book Club Conversation Series 4, where we are continuing to read the book The Big Leap by author Gay Hendricks. We are more than halfway through. We are on chapter 5 tonight. Boy, does the time go by real quick. And joining me again, of course, is Janine Caesar and Ingrid Hakim, fondly known as Janine and Mummy Hakim. How are you ladies doing?
Nice.
I'm fine. No complaints.
We are back. We are back and we are thugging it out and we're pushing through, staying committed to the process. The book club convo. Living in your zone of genius, using the ultimate success mantra to thrive in love, abundance, and creativity. How was this chapter for you, Janine? What sparked in you? What stood out?
Listen, I wondered why I didn't have a mantra before. Because after he explained it, I was like, oh, I can definitely see now. I am a praying child. I know when you wake in the morning before you go and sleep, you give thanks or you ask what it is you need and stuff like that. But that mantra, I can see myself. I actually, after reading it, I kind of tweaked his mantra to mine, and when I tweeted, I smiled. I was like, I can see myself doing this. Yeah.
Yeah. And Mommy Ingrid, what about you?
Well, when I started this chapter, I smiled because probably without knowing, I was doing something that he's referring to as a mantra. What happens on a morning, every morning basically, is you wake up, I say my prayer, my little prayer to get me off the bed. And I lie down and then I start to anticipate the task of the day. And sometimes, it's so overloaded, it's so crowded that you're like, oh my God, I can't get off this bed. But what I started doing a couple of years ago is I started counting from 1 till 10. But I would take a deep breath in. So this is why I said I smiled. I breathe in and I start counting. 1, 2, 3. And as I count, I tell myself, let go of yesterday, it's gone. You can't go back in there. And then I continue along, right? And then I tell myself, I say, okay, tomorrow is not yet here. So I have to deal with today. And then I will eventually get to 10. And sometimes I do have to start back 1, 2, 3, 4. But it actually conditions my mind and my body to say, right, get up and get going. And I have been doing that a couple of years now, because what I was doing before is I was saying, no, let me take 5 more minutes. And you'll ever take 5 more minutes in the morning and then 1 hour after you're rushing, right? Yes. Yes, I had read that in a little book somewhere. I can't even remember what the book was about. And I started doing that. So I think in my own little way, I had my little mantra going on, because I would tell my mind, I'm talking to my mind, I'm setting my mind, I'm saying, you're not going to control my morning. I need to get up. And if I leave you to control me, that's a day off Friday.
Yeah. It really stood out to me when he spoke about the highlight, learning to live in the zone of genius.
Yes.
And that excited me because there is, I think, in the process of growth, we get to a place where we believe there's like an optimal, and then we get to that optimal, the thing that we want to do, the person that we want to be, the thing that we want to achieve, and then we get to that, and then what? And so when he started talking about living in your zone of genius, I was like, all right, this breaks it down in a way that everyone can understand based on how he explains it. Because now all of a sudden we are reminded that it's not about getting there. It's about being able to stay there once you get there and function in that place. So my question to you ladies is, what do you do to live in your zone of genius, to be able to stay there on a daily basis, a weekly basis, especially given all of the different transitions that happen in life? How do you live in your zone of genius. Janine is smiling, saying, no, I'm going to volunteer you first.
I always remember my graduation when I did event management, and I remember Dexter Lewis challenging us to think of what's next. What's next for you? What's next for your business? And to me, if I always keep that at the back of my mind, I'm going to be constantly in my zone of genius because there's no limit. As you were speaking about the spiral, you're not staying in a box, you're going to be in a spiral because every time you reach a certain limit, you're still going to be spiraling upwards. So what's next? I've reached this plateau. What's next? I've reached this plateau. What's the plateau? This level. What's next? I reach the next level, and I keep going. So in order for me to continue living in a zone of genius, what's next needs to always be at the back of my mind.
Right. Mommy Ingrid, what about you? Oh, you forgot your mic is on mute, Mommy Ingrid.
Yes, I have some traffic here as well.
That's okay.
Yeah. And you know they wait to traffic when you're on a live. Yeah. Nobody's passing. So that question took me all the way to the back of the book when the author talked about Hendricks talked about commitment and recommitting. Because yes, you make that commitment to make a change in your life, or as we say, we will make that commitment to to take the big leap, which we already did, and we are now in our genius zone, and we have made that commitment. But as he said rightfully, it's a one-time thing. But in order to stay there, you have to recommit, and that is every single day of your life. You
Yeah.
have to recommit because really and truly, what does happen, you get complacent, you get comfortable, as he says, it's true. And then one day you're telling yourself, hey, what happened? I was just there. How come, I'm back here? And that's
Yeah.
because our minds, again, our mind have this ability to take control of us. So as I keep saying, I am in control, not you. You are in me, and I am the boss. So I have
Yes.
I
complete.
liked what he's. Sorry, go ahead.
No, no,
Sorry.
no, that's okay. I'm waiting to hear what you're saying.
I like how he said that the commitment was the start, but
Correct.
recommitting ignites, it continues, ignites. And I guess that's where the mantra comes in because the mantra will help you to reignite that passion and
Yes.
keeping you in the zone of genius. I like that thought.
Yes.
Yeah. But
Yes.
he spoke about something that I talk about a lot, and it's the whole idea of capacity. I love to talk about capacity because I believe that, sometimes we focus on skills and ability, but I see for a lot of people, especially like when I do business coaching, there are a lot of people that I have met over the years that they have skills and ability, but because they haven't developed capacity, they don't use their skills and ability. So I always say it's great to have skills and ability. You can. You studied for it, you trained for
Yes.
it, you practiced for it, you know it, you can. But these people sit and say, I can't. It's just too much. I can't. No, no, I'm being so serious. And they're overwhelmed and they don't move forward or they don't go to the next level. Because what happened is that over time they weren't intentional about developing capacity, that thing that is within that gives you the driving force to then employ the use of your skills and your abilities. So I thought it's so interesting, when I read him say that you go higher and higher as you expand your capacity for more. And I
Yes.
love that. And even, both of you talk about starting your day with prayer. Even for me, it's I would go past prayer and I would say it's a place of consciousness, because sometimes we could pray, but then if we don't activate, nothing happens.
Nothing happens.
So
Yes.
then, not for me with capacity, it's not just prayer, but it's a place of intentionality where I am purposefully positioning myself to become more, to engage more, in my mind, in my will, in my emotions, in my efforts and my energies and how I interact with the world. I am being intentional about developing my capacity. So instead of curling back and saying, this is too much, I say, everything I need is already inside of me. I need to tap into it. Instead of being
I like,
overwhelmed, you go ahead, Janine.
but I wonder if you say, and I'm not using this as an excuse to agree and keep yourself in that mind. But if you say that I can't, I would challenge you to say I can't, or put right now at the end of that. So I can't right now, but don't let it slip out of your grasp. Keep thinking, as you said, it's within you. Don't think that you can't do it at all. You may not be able to do it right now, but put the right now at the, make sure you keep the right now at the end of those statements. And
You
that
know
way
what
you
I
should
would
be able to live to that.
you know what I would say as well, Janine? I think that is why it's so important for us to be honest with ourselves. Because for some people, I can't right now, that right now, this continue for years. It's never a right time. It's never a good time. I never have enough money. I never this, that, the other. There's always a really good reason why
Yes.
we
Mhm.
can't step out. And so I agree with you. I can't right now, but I'm also sharing an awareness I have from dealing with, persons over the years
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
sometimes right now, the truth
Never
within them is that it's not
materializes.
a right now. The truth within them is I am afraid, but I don't want to admit it to myself, so I say I can't. The truth on the inside is probably I feel weary and I don't want to give that effort, but it would sound bad if I say that. So I'm just going to say I can't. Like there are a lot of different
Yes.
truths that are hidden beneath that sometimes we, the individuals, we don't want to admit to ourselves. So I think operating from a place of that truth and honesty will make a huge difference in really understanding, is it that I can't right now, or I need a change of mindset. And there is no one universal answer to that, because every response would be different based on who the person is. Because for some people, for example, Janine, I can't A to Z right now, but I can A to E. And then you operate within your scope. And again, that's another dimension, because some people, if they can't do A to Z, they ain't doing nothing at all. No, I can't, because it must be this way, because they need it perfected. You're raising your hand, okay, because all you need it perfected.
The perfectionists among us.
Yeah, and I know it's not real. I know perfection is not real. But last year, somebody gave me a quote that kind of snapped me out of it when they said that done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, oh, oh. Somebody, according to say, snatch your edges. Yeah, I didn't have any qualities in there
But you know
because
what I
that
tell
took me
myself
out.
all the time, like how you remind yourself, what done is better than perfect. Is that what you just said? I remind myself that excellence is the key. So for me, then, rather than try to push for perfection, which I used to operate in that space years ago, I pull back, and because I'm not looking for perfection, what I do is I look for excellence. I look for representation, whether it's within myself, my students, other people I'm dealing with. I look for that representation of your level of best for the place that you're at. Because that's another place I think a lot of us, we judge ourselves harshly, me included. That's a growth in process that I've been through. That you're so busy looking at the ultimate of what it should be that we don't give appreciation for what it is right now. And of course, the statement does not apply to everything in life, but I'm talking about sometimes the effort we put into whether it's a project or whatever it is, that this is my best right now. And I can't speak for anybody else, but I will speak for me when I say that has been a process for me That has been a process. I have had to be very intentional about accepting my level of best when that level of best is not the best that it could be. You know what I mean? Because my level
That's
of
your
best
number
right
one
now and
genetics.
my level of best next year will be two different levels of best,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if this is what I can produce and I know it's my best and I'm open to learning and growing, then I really and truly should be able to accept it and to celebrate it. And many of us can't. Mommy Ingrid, you went deep in thought. Oh, you're mute again. Mm-hmm.
I am just listening and appreciating every word that you're saying because it's so very true. You know, it's so very true. If you can't get it right, why bother? Sometimes we think like that, you know,
Yeah.
and we really, it really does kind of limit us as well because, I mean, sometimes our okay is really good, you know, is really,
True.
really good,
Yeah.
you know, and
And
it's
I
your
think,
best at
yeah.
that time. It's your best.
And I think too that's why it's important not to spend a whole heap of time comparing yourself to other people.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because
That's
we
true.
are all in our own lane. And
Yeah.
yes, sometimes the point of reference is good that you know what the possibilities are, but I'm still me. You are still you. And you
Mhm.
know, but I'll give an example. Like I was having a conversation just earlier this evening, and I was talking, and I was saying that my week wasn't very productive. And the person was saying to me, I can't imagine that you, for all you just do, you didn't have a productive week. And I'm like, no, you see, it's not that I didn't get anything done. It's just that I see in me. I know what I am capable of. So when I say it wasn't productive, quote unquote, I don't mean I didn't get anything done. I didn't, whatever. It just means because I know what I'm capable of. When I compare what I did to what I can do, it was not very productive. And
Yeah.
again, not only do we have to not compare ourselves to other people, but I really think it's so important. You see, once we're working on expanding our capacity, to have an awareness of our capacities so we could challenge ourselves to go bigger, to go deeper, to go further because we're getting an awareness of our capacities. But I thought it's so interesting. Here, he framed the capacities within the framework of love, abundance, and success. And that I thought was so interesting because a lot of time when we think about capacity, we don't always think about capacity in the context of love. And I want to know, is that something that resonated with you or that you went further and thought about considering your own self as in how do I expand my capacity for love? Is that something that you all went deeper in thought about in as you reflected on your own lives?
That was not one of my thoughts. It's not that it's now that you said it, so I was like, okay, it has me thinking. But I had worked it into my mantra to keep me recommitting, but uh, as a singular thought, I
Oh,
didn't put.
I know provoking you.
Yeah, you're getting nice and bringing it there.
Because, a lot of times when we think about love, we tend to think, and this is just my view, we tend to think romantic love between husband and wife, man and woman. We tend to think parent to child love. We tend to think sibling love. A lot of times when we think love, many people tend to think kind of pocket one of those three. But if it is we begin to expand our capacity to love, it means we're going so much further as in really thinking, okay, what is love? And what does it mean to have a capacity to love? And then when we look at all of the areas of our lives, spiritual, financial, relationships, and otherwise, we begin to ask, how does the capacity to love seep into all of these areas as I expand my capacities as a full experience. So I guess this is for all of us a thought and process taking into next week because everybody's looking blank right now.
Well,
I think
love.
because go ahead,
Oh,
Mommy.
sorry. No, when I think of, I mean, once upon a time, love for me was all those things, right? Your romantic love, your love for your children, unconditional love and stuff. We think about unconditional love, but for me, love is spiritual for me because I have discovered, well, I want to use that word discover because I really did discover it through spiritual searching, right? And love is divine, it is selfless, and it shares itself. And why so is because my greatest lesson to anybody is when God created us, He used one ingredient, only one ingredient, and that was love.
Mm-hmm.
And He created us for Himself, but He created us for each other, right? Even coming down later, when we get into the New Testament and we get into the life and the ministry of Jesus Christ and His purpose, one of the lessons that He left for us, one of the gifts actually, is not a lesson, it's a gift I believe that Jesus left for us, is when He said to the disciples, which would be by extension us, He said, love thy neighbor, no, love each other as I have loved you. And once you are able to understand love in a spirit, to me that is, if you understand love on a spiritual level, then it can seep into your everyday life, and the appreciation for life changes drastically. Even when there are obstacles in your in front of you, and you go through the trials and the tribulations, that love, that love, when we talk about unconditional love, that is where unconditional love comes from me. And it also kind of ignites this fire within you to know and to really understand and appreciate yourself, because you cannot expect someone to love you romantically or on a friendship level if you don't love yourself. Then how do you, if you don't love yourself, how do you process love that is being given to you? You won't even be able to recognize it. So for
I think you can
me,
expect it, mommy, but you'd be challenged in receiving it. Because a lot
yeah,
of people in
yes,
that position, and they're
yes.
expecting it, but they still realize you're empty on the inside. Because if there is not that love for self, then you end up not being able to really receive it.
That's right. And that takes me to one of two things I really cherish from this chapter. Well, there's a whole bunch of things, but two things. There was, to the beginning, I forgot my glasses in the office, so I can't read my little notes properly. But it's somewhere in the beginning when, he talked about mantra to thrive in love, abundance, and creativity, and the ability to be able to pass it on to others. And that voice that comes back to you, that self doubt, it's somewhere there, that self doubt that comes back to you sometimes, maybe by a negative something, a word or a statement somebody made. And then you tell yourself, hey, you can't inspire nobody. And I say, Gay Hendricks, no, we can debate that because I don't feel like that. I might have, I know earlier on I had a lot of self doubting and a lot of self sabotaging. But if it's one thing that I always believe is that I don't know why I think I could inspire people. Honestly, so much so that I am now making my little videos. I've started about a year and more now. My little videos I post it whenever on Facebook, and it's solely to inspire someone. Maybe I would have read something that inspired me, and that's what I do. Like you're sitting in an office and you see a little something that says, oh, I like that. I write it down, and then I go and make my little video, and it's all about reaching out to someone. And I told myself, I said, yes, here is a challenge that he put forth. And yes, one, I have it down clean, at least one, one. And then later on is a different thing. It's something that I recognize I have a problem. I have recognized that I have a problem that I need to work on. And that's when we went down later on and he spoke about where is it? The something no, the enlightened no.
Yep.
I have a problem there. I can't say no. It's not that I have it's not that I cannot say no in the sense that I have a problem saying no, I just, everything for me is yes, I want to do this for you, I want to help you. And when I started reading this, the words under this title, it tells me, hey, sometimes you need, because we get so caught up in wanting to do for people and help people and make others happy that we take no downtime for ourselves, and we come into trouble because at the end of the day, everyone around you is satisfied and you are so empty and you're so tired and you're so drained,
And you
and
can't fill anybody else up if your cup is empty.
thank you. I want my cup to be run it my cup to run it over, spill on the saucer too, you know. And that is me right through. And I have to go back to this, the enlightened no, and go back a few times and figure it out for myself, because I have recognized a that's one of my problems. I cannot say no. I
I think I'm
choose
just
not
the
to say
opposite
no.
of you.
Yeah, it's not I cannot. I
I'm
choose not to say no because
I'm
I
the
want to
opposite.
help. Yeah.
I have learned, and I have to say this recently, like within the last year or two, my enlightened, my enlightened no has become stronger.
Really?
But yeah, but my conscious or my mental back talk, that is still a work in progress. I mean, I know how to snap myself out of it. I've learned to snap myself out of it, but I keep hearing it. I keep hearing it there. Why does you feel you can do that? I'm like, no, because it's in me. I have to snap myself out of it. I can do it. But that enlightened, no, I have learned, just as I said, I cannot help to fill your cup. If mine is empty, what am I going to pour into it?
Pointed.
What are you going to
Yeah.
receive? Because I have nothing to give anymore. And I've started, as much as I am a people pleaser, but I've started saying I would like to, but not at this time. Not at this time. I need to get X and Y and Z done for me to help you later on, or to help both of us later on, to help us reach a different level. I need to say no sometimes. And because I am a people pleaser, it's still kind of, I still hear the back talk like, you see. But I was like, no, no, I know
Yeah.
what it is I need to do. I know I need to start doing that now in order to reach my zone of genius. I need to start doing that.
To start, I need to stop fitting in, because as you said,
I
you have no, I
listen.
fit in. I have this.
I know I stand out like a sore thumb, and I don't care
Oh
anymore.
my goodness, fit in. I just fit in. I always find a little slot. When you come, I fit you in. And what I find happening, and I don't like, that the feeling that it comes with is when somebody is about to ask a favor, or I know that person is coming, I am like, oh God, again. And I don't like that, because that's my fault. That's not their fault. Because I am the one, and I am always the one in church. I am the one when they're looking for certain things. Ingrid, call Ingrid. Ingrid would know. In school, but with kids, it's the same thing. Previously, I'm on every committee, and we have all these people on the committee, and you'll have three people, and you would find the three people doing things. And I remember once a girlfriend, she invited me to come and help on a committee, and I ended up joining it. That was a fundraising committee. And she told me, we sat in the meeting and we said, okay, each class gets a designation of something to do. So tea party is always thrown onto the new parents who don't know what happening, and they're eager. And, they started to complain to teachers and all of that. And my girl is up and, okay, well, our class could do it. And it's like, yeah, we could take that on. That's something that we could do. And then it was Ingrid alone. It was me. I put on an entire tea party. I got the caterers. I would have to run up to Twin City. I'm doing these things. But I am a friendly person, a warm person. She's a mommy too, like me. It always involves. So I got her to bring things the day before. I am the one going out there to get people to just do the little rinse and that because we didn't want sanitary, we want classy things. So now you have to make sure the classy things clean. Down
Mm-hmm.
to every single detail. It was me alone. It was just me, and I'm like, where's the class? Where's the person who volunteered this? And then, but I still can't say no. But next year I wouldn't say no. I think I have a maybe as an addiction to not to saying yes. I
No,
don't know. That's
I
weird.
know exactly where you come from. I
Oh
know
my
exactly
gosh.
what you're speaking about. But
Yeah.
um, in your downtime, or when you have time to yourself, try to figure out that that's what helped me. Try to figure out little phrases for you to turn down requests. It's going to hurt because I'm telling you, it still makes me uncomfortable. Especially as you say, just like you're a people pleaser, it makes me very uncomfortable, but it's necessary. It is necessary. It is necessary. So try to figure out little phrases that you can use that will kind of dampen that feeling, but it's necessary for yourself, Mommy Ingrid.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. But I just so when I came across the enlightened no, I was like, I got excited first. I say right after the few lines, and then when I started to read on, I was like, Ingrid, you have a problem. You need to learn to say. Sometimes one of my neighbors, she told me she's very Christian, a very very God fearing woman. She says, just say no because anything you may say after may be a lie and it's a sin. Just say no. But I can't do that.
I
I
can't do
can't
that
do
either. I have to soften the blow a little bit.
Yeah.
Four things for me that come to mind as it pertains to the enlightened no. And even in listening to you ladies, one is intentionality. I think recognizing the reason for the no. Because I understand like no could be a point of downtime, needing to refresh yourself, not wanting to overwork yourself. But one of the things that stood out to me is that the big reason why Gay Hendricks talked about the enlightened no wasn't actually about refreshing yourself. The big reason for the no is because understanding I am positioning myself to live in my zone of genius. And if something does not fit in my zone of genius, I do myself a disservice by positioning myself to operate in that. It's like purposefully walking into a door or purposefully bouncing your toe. Why purposefully walk into a door or bounce your toe? It does not serve you. So I think intentionality, if it is we are transitioning into a place where we're saying, here's what, I want to live in zone of genius. These are my areas and the ways that I function in zone of genius. So then this would tell me what I would want to be involved in. So I think for me, intentionality is a really good starting ground that helps direct me as to the yes, the no, or when. And I think another one too is perspective. So it all depends on how you look at it. Because if you're looking at it as, oh, I just feel bad to tell somebody no, then you'll always say yes, even when it's to your disadvantage.
Mhm.
But if it is you understand the reason for your yes, is as equally as important as the reason for your no, it will determine what we say yes and no to, and there is no shame or no bad feeling or none of that. When I say yes, I'm not saying yes because I'm trying to please you. I'm saying yes because it fits into my zone of genius. It fits into my purpose. It fits into what I have going on at this time. It's aligned with my goals. That is why I say yes. I have to know that in my head for me so that as important as people's feelings are, they can't sway me from fulfilling my goals. The goals had remained on top, else what? I end up getting into this service. And I remember Janine, when we did the Uncommon Dream, we touched on this just a smidgen when we
Mhm.
talked about, when we go against our goals and our path and what we know we're called to do because we want to please, because we want to do this. We have to decide, be intentional about deciding what is important and then follow that. And then the other thing I have here, I mentioned as my third point is honesty. The importance of being honest. Like, for example, Mommy Ingrid, I listened to you talking about the school and the tea party and whatever. And sometimes we end up in groups or situations where you might have to do things that you're quote unquote not thrilled about. But what I have learned to do is I have learned to be honest with people and explain to people how I function best. So if I go into a space and the thing that the group is supposed to do is a tea party, I am not the one to wash wares. Not because I refuse to wash wares, that is not my thing. I'm not saying I'll never wash vest. Please don't misunderstand me. But what I do is I communicate to people and say, okay, in all of the things that have to be done, these are my strong points. These are the things that I do well. I do a lot of things well, but I pick the things that are within my space of quote unquote zone of genius or within my goal or within my natural flow. And I say, so if you need anything in this area, call me, message me, I'm there for you. These are the things I mightn't be able to support you well. I may not be able to remain dedicated or committed to make it happen. And I don't want to volunteer myself and not fulfill my commitment. I am honest with people. So that way I don't lead people on to have unrealistic expectations or put myself in a position where I am now bending back over and bouncing my toe for something that if I had communicated, if I was honest about, my flow, for lack of a better phrase, I could have collaborated with whoever to say, hey, if these are the 10 things, is it okay if I volunteer for 4 and 8? And maybe it might be a great thing. But if I never say and I jump into the role of superwoman, because I can be superwoman, that what I had to do? I actually, some years ago, I had to have a conversation with self and find out from me what I was getting out of being superwoman to everybody else. That had to be a conversation where I had to figure that out so that I could make some adjustments because I need to not be superwoman. And it took time. And in some ways, I still have to correct myself and I have to say, no, you're not going to do that. Even when I can, I decide, no, you're not going to do it because it does not serve the other person. If you operate like that in their life, it's not going to serve you to position yourself to operate like that in somebody else's life. And I make the harsh decision. And because it is on goal, on point, now, we're getting into zone of genius. It is aligned with zone of genius. I can be comfortable about that decision. I might refer you, I might try to find, because sometimes you need to allow people the space to get up and stand on their own feet and grow some strength in their legs and get some skills. And if we keep being superwoman to everybody and every committee and everything, we'd be a big fat old chicken sitting on all the hens, on all the egg done crack, the chicken done come out, and we wouldn't let the little chicken them go their way and walk and do what they have to do. No, we have to see little mama hen sometimes, the superwoman that we are, the powerhouses that we are, the diverse, multi-skilled, extraordinary woman that we are, pull back and say, nah, I need to let them do their thing and operate in, and then communicating is my point 4. I think when we communicate clearly, it opens the door to understanding. It doesn't mean that we wouldn't come across people who just don't want to understand because they don't care about you, they don't care about your process, they don't care what you're going through. They just want to draw from you or leech from you or abuse your skills. And I remember Uncommon Dream, that book talked about that. People who take advantage of your skills and you allow in the communication you have, you allow almost as if they were abusing you because they take advantage of you. As powerhouses, we have to make decisions that say, I will not allow my skills, my understanding to be abused and advantage, but I will put my skills and my ability, my capacity to serve the higher good in the area to which I was called. So I don't know, maybe hopefully that gives some food for thought. As you're not going to be enlightened, no.
I remember my dad. My dad said that to me once. He said, "I saw you doing X, Y, Z, A, B, C, G, F, J. I saw you doing running the gamut." He said, "But what did you get out of that in the end?"
Yeah.
How did I help you? And it made me sit back and think, because I was thinking, um, I was seeing the end goal, but I wasn't seeing. He was seeing it, but I wasn't seeing it. He was seeing me getting smaller and smaller and smaller. I was like, "What are you getting out of that?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, I probably need to pull back and recommit myself to the uncommon dream.
But you know what he
Recommit
said?
myself."
He said the things we should pursue in Zone of Genius are the things that serve the highest purposes. I think that is important because a lot of times, if we're to be honest, when you have the capacity to be superwoman, it's easy to spread yourself to want to do everything because you can. Like I know I can do a whole lot of things. I could sweep the yard, I could clean the toilet, I could set the tablecloth on the table, I could help with deco, I could help coordinate, I could help in a lot of different areas. But does it mean I'm going to say yes and do all? No, that is not wise, and it does not support me living in my zone of genius. It doesn't support me fulfilling my highest purpose. And I think that is what it is. Maybe sometimes us taking a minute to pull back and say, does this serve my high? And it comes back to us having it identified. Do we have that vision for our lives established? Do we have our goals established where we could identify to know what are our highest purposes or pursuits right now? So then we make decisions based on that, and everything else could take a walk and be fulfilled in itself. The
But
Lord
as an
God
event
provides
manager,
this. It provides for me. What's that, Janine?
that's what we do. I know my zone of genius is pulling everything together to make the event sparkle. But even though I could do my decor, I could make sure that the music is right. I could do all of that. But then when I'm taking time to get all of that done, it means now my ability to make sure everything else is the way it should be is diminished. So what I need to do is to delegate. Okay, I need a DJ to see about the music. I need a decorator to see to make sure the ambience is set. I need a caterer to see about the food. I need people to come and help serve the food. I need to just make sure that all those elements are together without me having to do it. If I have the freedom and the ability to pull all those things together, sweetness. Sweetness is going to come out of it. But even though, as you said, I'm a superwoman, I can do that, it makes it so much better to help others who are working in their zone of genius. Like how we could use Mommy Ingrid's, and I don't know you long, Mommy Ingrid, but I realize that you are an inspiration. I could use Mommy Ingrid's gifts for inspiring to be a speaker. I can use Alina, your gift of making an impact, to be another speaker. While I pull in the DJ to make sure the music is there when you all are walking up the stairs and all that. I can do all of that in my zone of genius by helping y'all in or utilizing y'all in your zone of genius. That's what I do.
I love
That's what
that you said that. I love that you said that. I love that you said that. Let me tell you what I love. What you just said, in case you wasn't listening to you, is that what you can do is utilize people as they function in their zone of genius.
their
And when I
zone of
tell
genius.
you,
Yeah.
I have been on a path for the last year, maybe year and a half, where I didn't have the terminology of zone of genius, but I have been on that path where if something doesn't fit, I don't fret. And I say to me, Alina, that person is probably not functioning in their best self and they cannot support you in the way you want to be supported. So if they're not able to step up to the plate, you can't have any feelings about it. And if it is vice versa, I can't have any feelings even about me if I'm not able to step up to the plate. Because maybe what it is that they're not ready. Maybe they're not positioned. Maybe I could be seeing something in them, but if they don't see it in themselves, it's still not going to make a match. There are so many things when it comes to that collaboration that I love that. And now that I have this terminology, it's the terminology in my head. I want to function and collaborate with people in areas where they are serving in their own zone of genius. Because then, even as the end of the chapter says, they're going to be exhilarated, I'm going to be exhilarated, and all are we happy to do what we're doing. Why? Because we are all functioning in our zone of genius and not trying to fit the wrong hole in the square peg. And that's what it is. But even as we close, ladies, what are your final thoughts?
My mantra. I'm going to try throughout the day, because I wondered when I read, is the mantra only to be said in the morning? And then as I read further into the chapter, I heard him speak about doing it throughout the day.
Today.
And I think that's what I'm going to utilize, trying to get that mantra said. Well, like when I think things are going a little crazy, take some time, take a 5 minutes, and just remind myself of my mantra, remind myself of why I'm doing this, what it is I want to achieve. And my mantra is only, it could fit into 2 lines if I write big. But I have to start saying that mantra to keep recommitting myself to that dream, to
Yeah.
making that big.
Mom Ingrid, what about you? What are your closing thoughts as you reflect on chapter 5?
Well, I took something actually from chapter 5. I expand in abundance, success, and love. Every day I inspire those around, I inspire those around me to do the same. So I even made a little print. This is just a little print, but what I did is I did it really pretty, and I face a wall. My computer's there, and I stuck it. And this is just for me personally, right? I know this is not my mantra. This is a mantra, his mantra, but it's so beautiful. And
Yeah.
it is beautiful because it reminds me of what I am capable of
And if it
doing.
suits you, you can make it yours.
I
Yes.
tweet it,
But
yeah, I tweet mine.
yes, but like for me though is mindfulness. And mindfulness in two forms, in of mindfulness in body and mindfulness in what I want to call spirit, right? Where, and I wrote it down, I'm trying to read it. I just didn't want to forget anything. So I have no glasses, so don't laugh. Mindfulness. So when he took us in the beginning and we spoke about mantra, we talk about breathing in and letting, breathing in, letting out. Um, so mindful breathing allows me to release the past, right? That has gone. Nothing to be retrieved from there. To realize the future does not exist yet, which will bring me to the present, for me to be alive in the present, not just to exist, but to be alive in the present, right? And what is mindfulness? What is mindfulness to me? Mindfulness is the energy that makes us fully present, fully alive in the here and the now, because it's energy. That's what it is really. And the mindfulness, which is the energy, that's how I fuel my spirit. And it goes hand in hand. You fuel your body by taking control of your mind, saying, hey, I'm going to tell you what to do, you're not going to tell me what to do. And fueling your spirit and just living in the fullness of the here and the now.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
love
I like
that. Thank you, ladies, so
Yeah.
much for sharing.
that.
Of course, for me, I'm taking into um, will continue to take into that whole notion of living in that zone of genius, because it reminds us of the importance of pivoting, adjusting, because it's not about arriving, it's about maintaining and sustaining the goals and the vision. And
Yes.
it's easy to think about arriving and working so hard to arrive, but much like, let's say, a teenager who has written the CXC exam, up to that point, that was the biggest thing ever, And when you finish and get a certificate, you realize you now start and you could,
Uh-huh.
but Lord, it's the same
Uh,
thing. I parallel that onto adulthood. We sometimes can have that misconception that we're striving to arrive. But after we've arrived, we now start. And so I think the encouragement out of chapter 5 is don't just strive to arrive, strive to embrace every day for who you are, being your best sense of self, fulfilling your greatest purpose in every moment. I should write that down. That sounded good. I'm going
I
to go
think so
back to
too.
this.
I think just like how mommy Ingrid
Go
has
at
it
the end of this and write that
somewhere.
down. I'll make that my mantra. But ladies
I
and
like
gentlemen,
it.
it was so wonderful. Thank you so much. And, trust that those who would view the clips afterwards, you're going to be so encouraged. So until next week, same channel, same time. Have a great one.